What if you were so oppressed and you denied all of your emotions out of the need to work and achieve, produce, do? There is a saying that we are humans being. We are not human doings, we are humans being. We are human beings for a reason. And as human beings, we are meant to be emotionally intelligent. We are meant to feel. We are meant to be held and nurtured. And we are meant to connect with others in emotional ways. When we do not allow ourselves to feel, we deny our humanness. We deny the very fabric of us that is real and raw. And so I'm going to talk about a placement in astrology today that is learning how to feel. Tapping into the basic human emotion of feeling. This is the Cancer North Node. I'm realizing that this is going to be long. This might be very, very long, so I'm just going to jump right in to this video. And I'm going to start out with the book for the nodes, which is the Astrology for the Soul book all about the lunar nodes, and it is the book, my go-to book on the lunar nodes. And I want to turn to it. I had this book, and it's kind of in bad condition because I don't know what happened to it. I got it back in 2023. Might very well rebuy the book again, just in a better condition. I don't know, maybe sometime. Turning to the dates, first of all, of the North Node through Cancer. The South Node in Capricorn. So the nodes are always opposite. If the North Node is in Cancer, the South Node is always in Capricorn. And sometime, probably when I get back from my hiatus, I'll probably do a video on what the nodes actually are, like a podcast on what the nodes actually are, just so you can understand that. I'm just doing all the placements right now, because this is not an official series. I did this as extra videos because I wanted to do this series. I have a list of videos mapped out for, the future, but I'm just doing a lot of them now because I want to do them now, and I'm, in it, so I'm going to take advantage. So, that is how it is. And if I do one placement now and then don't do the rest, then don't worry, I'll come back to them at a later time, when I feel like it, or, when I get to them on that list as the weeks go by. So, I'll do videos more often for a good long while, I'm thinking, and then I'll cut down on videos. Probably August, September is when I'll dial it back. Do less. Maybe. Who knows? That's just my plan that I have. So the first time the North Node entered Cancer, March 31st of 1907 to September 27th, 1908. Then again, from October 27th of 1925 to April 16th of 1927. And then again, from May 12th of 1944 to December 13th of 1945. So that is that. And then this is just basically looking at, when you were born with this placement and, what you were born. Because I'm listing off the dates of the transits of when the North Node was through Cancer. Then again, from, let's see here. So I did that. I talked about that. Yes. Moving down the list. Okay. December 24th of 1962 to August 25th, 1964. Okay. I do know that two people were born in 1963. Johnny Depp and Tori Amos. Those both individuals. Born in June. What's his name? Johnny Depp was born June 1963. Tori Amos was born August 22nd of 1963. And I think that with Tori Amos and her music, she is really, really leaning into her feelings, into her emotions, into her, nurturing energy, and really, really is being nurtured through music, because music is something that you create music out of, out of the emotions that you feel, and you create songs out of these emotions that you do feel. And I do believe that she puts a lot of emotion and a lot of her feeling into her songs, and talks about a lot of Cancerian things kind of mixed in with the music. And of course, is used to the business aspect of it, and does it very, very well, and markets it, and, produces it, because that's, Capricorn, like they touch things and then makes money, and it becomes, producing things. They're great producers, great workers, but, the shadow side of that's what they're moving away from. I'll get into that. But through her music, she is looking at, emotion. And especially her Ocean to Ocean album, song Metal, Water, Wood, she based on emotions. She was very, very, feeling very emotional in 2020 when the quarantine hit, which I'm going to talk about here a little bit. Feeling very emotional then. Basically stepped out in the, in a outside and sat down and connect to the trees, and that particular album, Ocean to Ocean, is, I think that she, again, with that album, there's a lot of emotions that go into the music. So I think that she uses music as an emotional medium to get her points across, and just want to paint pictures and communicate all these emotions that she's feeling in a way where she can get it out. I do note that she did mention that, I haven't really looked into her life and her, upbringing, but I do know that her mother was very, very compassionate and very, very connected to her emotions, so she helped her to connect to her feelings. Mother was, didn't say a whole lot of things that would offend anyone, was very kind, was very, very considerate, seemed to be very, very nurturing, and I think that she was very, I wonder if she was a Cancer herself, I don't know, but I think she was very, very beneficial to Tori, because she helped to lean into the more soft, gentle, emotional side, which is the Cancer North Node. And this North Node is not a complicated North Node to lean into. It's not like the North Node in Aquarius or Scorpio, where there's layers to talk about. I think it's very, very, very simple with this particular one. So that's that transit that I just wanted to mention. Then again, I'm going to talk about somebody else with this when I get to the next transit, which is, the next one happened between September 25th, 1981 to March 16th of 1983. I want to talk about this a little bit. The very first person that was born that I know of, well, one person would be, Danica Patrick, born March of 1982. She seems to be, kind of, like, I think that these people put on a kind of private, guarded, persona. Like they have a lot of guard. Like in this life, they're going to like let their guard down. So I perceive her as having a guard to her. And then also an astrologer born in 1982 that I follow, Stormy Grace, has mentioned in several videos that she has a Capricorn South Node, Cancer North Node, and she likes to raise plants. And so she sort of is getting out of telling her children that, there is no, I think that you'll find that I'm subscribed to her. I believe I am subscribed. That, there is no crying in a lot of these extracurricular activities. And, training the children. It's very, very easy to have this conditioning with displacement that I'm going to talk about. about repressing your emotions and then conditioning your children. You pass it on to your children, like I think the South Node is your conditioning that you pass on to your children after that happens. After that conditioning happens, so basically you're passing on the conditioning of saying that it's not okay to cry and feel and be happy and let yourself get too carried away. Like, they don't want to let themselves get too carried away emotionally. They are afraid of letting their emotions just take over. They have this control to them where these emotions, they don't want to take over. Anyway, that I don't want to get ahead of myself here because I easily could. So, that's her. She's leaning into her Cancer North Node family. She said in one of the videos with, I think, Marie Simone, that, like, I used to be a hustler. I used to be the one working and providing and working so hard, but now I'm focusing on my emotional growth, my family, making space for myself. I was like thinking to myself, you are explaining your North Node and your South Node to me without even intending to. It's like, this is exactly where you're meant to head. This is your, this is your path in life. Another person who has this placement that I know is actually the head of the music department at the local community college that I go to in Ankeny, Des Moines, or Ankeny, Iowa, because I live in Iowa. And so, without listing his name, I will say that very, very put together. Somebody in music, very well spoken, very, takes it very, very seriously, takes the job really, really seriously. Like, Capricorn is very down to business and takes it seriously. But I do feel that he is, like, I question to myself, is this person really living up to his potential? Is this person really living the biggest life? And you can't, don't think that you know something about somebody that you're not living up to your potential. Like, you don't know how that person feels. Like, this person could easily feel like he is living up to his potential. So you can't really assume anything about people. And so that's the Sagittarius Shadow Gemini North Nodes thing that I talked about with them on that video, and I was very passionate when I made that video. So, in this series, which is one of the first videos I made of this series, and so he, he made it clear that he's very thankful for the job that he has, and it's very, very fulfilling to him to be in a very, very small building, in a very, very small role, because Capricorn already did it big and climbed the social ladder in previous lifetimes. Cancer is here to, focus on his emotional foundations. Very, very important is emotional foundations. Huge with this placement. Emotional foundations could be, home, your roots, getting reconnected to that. Like, so much about work. I mean, the simple version is you're working too much, you're overproducing or whatever. It's about connecting to your emotions and your family. That's the surface level interpretation of this placement. I'm going to go really, really deep with it. But if you want the short answer, I just gave it to you. So, and it is very, very close to home. I do believe it is in his local, he lives very, very close to DMAC. College that I go to, that I will be returning to in the fall. I'm on hiatus from that this semester because of health issues, but I think that he is moving into that with you picking a job that is very, it's like if you pick a job with the South Node and Capricorn, North Node and Cancer, make it so that you have plenty of work-life balance. Make it so that you can spend plenty of time, probably even more time, connecting with your family and connecting where you can feel and where you can just, lean into and follow your emotions and connect with family and do all that. So I think that he chose a career, setting and place where it could be very, like it is, close to home. It's like being close to home is really what the North Node in Cancer can be about. Somebody else who has this placement that I think has this placement was a history teacher I had in high school, who taught the class was, and I'm going to be very, very specific about it, early modern world history. It was a one-semester class. She was a Capricorn sun, and she was very, very, good at teaching. She, had her stuff together, and she, very, very, took it very, very seriously, very invested in what she was doing. Capricorn does rule history because it's like the lessons of the past and learning from, like, she taught history and she was a Capricorn, so she really had a passion for history. She loves history. She teaches she taught the AP history classes, and history is really the events that have happened in the past that make for today, that make for the events of today, and form the way to today. And so what have we learned from the past, and what kind of mistakes can we change? Like Capricorn is about the past and that we can make a better tomorrow, but we're honoring the past. Like Capricorn is very much about honoring the past. And so history, when you're looking at history, you're paying attention to the past. And so that's very Capricorn. So, but I wonder if she is very guarded emotionally. Like she is learning this life to step into emotions, and it's very, very difficult for her to lean into her emotions. And I think that it's so profound to have your sun in the same sign as your South Node. I find that fascinating when somebody's sun is in the same sign as the South Node. I mean, the very thing that they're here to put out into the world and the personalities is the very thing that they are releasing. I mean, it's just, it's almost mind-boggling to me, really. But this person, I wonder if she, was very, very repressed emotionally, and is leaning towards Cancer. She is so very much Capricorn in Capricorn energy, but the North Node is leaning towards the opposite sign. So I just find it so interesting when somebody's chart has just, I haven't looked at her chart, but I assume it has a lot of Capricorn in it. Like if somebody's chart has a lot of that same sign as that South Node, I find that fascinating. Because, like, they're expressing their South Node sign. They're expressing what they've already come in with. I mean, and, that's just, especially with Capricorn. So, I thought I'd mention that. Then it happened again. The transit happened again. Let's see here. April 10th of 2000 to October 12th of 2001. Huh. Thinking of the day in September that we will all remember. Very, very tragic. That was that transit. So I could have been born during that time very easily. I could have been born around that time, but I was born 3 years after that time period. My North Node is in Taurus, and I was born in the April 14th, 2003 to December 25th of 2004 transit of the North Node in Taurus. So that's when I was born. So that kind of tells you how old I am, and you may be very, very surprised at my age and these videos. But anyway, I don't want to go into that. But okay. So that is that, and then it happened from November 7th of 2018 to May 9th. Wait a second. This is not right. To May 4th of 2020. A couple of things I want to discuss with this. In the summer of 2019, in the month of August, I had depression. I just fell into a funk. Like the skies were cloudy. I was having these really weird, uncomfortable thoughts. Like I was thinking about walking. And I was thinking about my legs touching each other as they walked. And since 2016, I've been having thoughts of my teeth, and like my teeth touching my teeth, and when I talk, and all that kind of thing, having these weird thoughts, and very conscious of my hands, and I was just getting so in my head with the emotions of it that it was a tough period from, I'd say, August 14th, 15th through, I want to say, towards the end of the month, really. I mean, it did kind of continue throughout, the rest of 2019, but, that was a tough period. And, what happened was when I actually allowed myself, I learned, it's okay to feel these feelings of depression and these feelings of feeling down about myself. And it was the first time I've ever experienced a real funk in my life. That was just an introduction to it, to that kind of thing. I experienced several more, like in, December 2020, I experienced it over Christmas, the kind of same thing where I was really pale and depressed. Just so in my head, I couldn't get out of my head. I was just feeling trapped in my head, very tough. And when I felt my emotions, when I actually spoke to them, like Cancer North Node is speaking to your emotions, and allow yourself to feel them. Like when I spoke to them, to my family, like I'm feeling this, then the doors opened up for me. Like now, they have my back with this, and they are here to help me get through this, and they have sympathy, and they have empathy, and they have compassion for me going through this. So that is, with that North Node and that going on, that time was very, very important. And then 2020 happened, and what happened during 2020? Well, lockdown. Business, working, that's Capricorn, shut down. A lot of people were focused on their home, and guess what happened during 2020? People became a lot more introspective because they couldn't go out, COVID, that whole thing going on, and they were more introspective. Like when you have alone time, you're not always working, you can actually spend more time getting to know yourself and getting to know your emotions, getting to know what your feelings are and how you need to be nurtured and your basic emotional needs, like really, really going into self-reflection during that time period, coming home, going home, playing it small. Cancer North Node is like playing it small, this life. It really, really comes down to that. So I just thought I'd mention that before even getting into what I really wanted to talk about. This video I've just barely begun. I've just barely begun, and that was a lot already. The next transit of the North Node in Cancer is it is going to be from May 30th of 2037 to February 9th of 2039. Oh, I wonder what my life is going to be like at that time. I have no idea what my life will be like. I'm just so curious to see, at that time. So, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go to the, this is going to be, again, you want to get comfortable, getting, we're waking this up in breaks. So I'm going to turn to the Cancer North Node chapter here, page 153. Okay. The way this says, yes. Okay, so this all applies if you have your North Node in Cancer. It also says here in this Jan Spiller book, Astrology for the Soul, North Node in the 4th house. If you have, North Node in Cancer in the 4th house and South Node in Capricorn in the 12th house, because it's always opposite, by house and by sign, you've got a double dose of it. So you're really doubling down on Cancerian rule matters life. So, tendencies to lay behind, healing the Capricorn shadow. This is the healing the Capricorn shadow part of this video. I could timestamp this, and so healing the Capricorn shadow. These are all the shadows and negative tendencies of the Capricorn South Node. Some of these I will amend at the very, very end of this video, so stay tuned to that. But so, the first one is the strong need that you have, Capricorn South Node, to control everything in your life. Every single person. Every single thing. Capricorn is a cardinal sign. Says, needing to control everything and everyone. This, you need to be a control freak. Needing to be, just this need, like I gotta control people. I gotta be control. You feel insecure if your physical environment and if your wife and if you are not in the driver's seat of your life and you're not in control of every aspect of your life, like every bit of your life, your emotions, your family, your relationship, your job, your goals, your everything, I think anxiety starts to hit at that point. Well, I'm just going to say anxiety starts to hit in, insecurity starts to hit in, and it becomes very difficult to manage those emotions, and it's like, and then when you lose control and let yourself go, well, then you easily fall back on needing to control, needing to be in total control of everything. So this can be a good thing because you're in charge of your own destiny and you're having self-respect and going after your own goals. That's all great, and that's what you come in with. It's the Capricorn North Node, for example, is about self-respect and the willingness to go after your goals, because that's what the Cancer South Nodes are learning. For you, it's this over control, like this excessive control over everything in your life. Okay. Compulsion to take charge without fully understanding the situation. It's so easy to, and I also want to throw in, I think you're type of worker that just comes in, clocks in, does the work, then just leaves. The work is all that matters, and you don't really bother to make, emotional connections with the people that you're, working with at worst. You don't bother to, I'm just going to talk to you straight. Like, I want to be compassionate with you, but I'm just honestly telling you, like, you have the tendency to just do the work and not, emotionally connect and not try to understand the situation. The compulsion to just get in there and control, assuming that you know what the situation is before you actually look at, okay, what is the person feeling? What is the person thinking? What emotional needs do they need to be met? How should I talk to them? Are they very, very sensitive, or are they very, very resilient? What's actually going on? How do they need to be taken care of? Well, you go in and help people without knowing their emotional needs and what they need to be taken care of. So this taking charge in these situations is very, very, really tough, very, huge situations for you. Without fully understanding what is going on and the emotions involved in it. The next tendency. Oh gosh, this is a big one. The very first time I heard this is in Food Network Star Season 8. Here's a big lesson for you, Capricorn South Node. It's not just about the end goal. It's not just about, I'm climbing the mountain and I'm reaching that goal. And let's face it, success, when you're aiming towards success, you're focusing on a goal. However, who do you become in the process? Who do you become in the process of reaching that goal? Like, that is also important, because who you become matters a lot. What emotions do you feel? What feelings do you experience? What growth do you feel? What realizations? What do you gain? What challenges do you overcome? Like, let's say it's a journey that makes you more knowledgeable about yourself, more evolved spiritually. Growing in that kind of way when you focus on the process, and not just opposed to, oh, I'm just going out and achieving the goal, and just making the goal reality, or whatever. It's this kind of tendency to be so determined on that goal that you're just fixated on that goal, and you're just not very present with the actual process of achieving it, getting to it. Like, instead of focusing on where you're going in the car, like, look at the scenery as you're going in the car, like, look at the trees, look at the birds, look at the mountains as you go, like the journey of it is just as important as the destination. Because otherwise, you don't, like, Capricorn South Node does not allow itself to grow. It stays in the stuck patterns of working. When you're working, producing, and being focused on the goal, you are living small, and you are not allowing yourself to grow emotionally. So you kind of miss out, and not having awareness around being present and allowing yourself to grow in that process. Like, Cancer North Node is about slowing down and feeling and experiencing, as opposed to just doing. Well, like, again, you're a human being, you're not a human doing. That's a very, very huge point that I want to make in this video. Okay. The downside of Earth energy in general, and the downside of Capricorn energy, is that you constantly feel like you're responsible for every detail of your life and everybody else's life. Why do I always have to mow the lawn? Why do I always have to make the money? Why do I have to always drive the car, or plan the family outings? Why am I always the one to lead the campaign at work? Just feeling like you're responsible. And then just feeling like, oh, I gotta work so much, I gotta work so hard, otherwise, it's like, this life is about not working so hard. Like, you've done hard work. Time to just relax this life. So, the North Node in all the signs is about, like, receiving. Allowing yourself to receive like you're meant to receive. That's a huge lesson of a water North Node, is receptivity. Very important. So, feeling like you're responsible for everything. And also I want to add to this, putting pressure on yourself. Like, do you relate to pressure? Do you relate to what it feels like to put so much pressure on yourself? Like, I gotta perform to the most optimum level, whatever the term is. And I gotta be the best, I gotta be the most successful, I gotta be the most ambitious, I gotta, go above and beyond. And you kind of kill yourself in that like, there's this negative tendency to, like, kill yourself in the process to work so hard. And you burn out. Because, and I was into reading when the North Node was in Leo and the South Node was in Aquarius, and then I got myself burned out at the end of 2018, and then, when the North Node was in Cancer, that kind of died down for me. So I didn't mention that earlier because it's just kind of trivial and it's not very, very important, but just putting pressure on yourself. Pressure. Big. The next one, Hiding feelings and fears in intimate relationships. Hiding these feelings and fears. Hiding all these feelings, like, instead of, like, you can build as much as you can build. You can build cities, you can build mountains, you can build all this stuff. But if you don't have the emotional connection and the nurturing and the bond, then you're not going to have a sustainable long-term relationship, which is what you want, is something to last for the long term. But you're not going to get that if you're so, hiding all these fears that you have and all these insecurities that you have. It's like, it is okay to feel these feelings. It is okay to be vulnerable and speak to them. And in intimate relationships, part of intimate relationships is a close bond. How can you expect to bond with that partner and connect with that partner emotionally if you keep everything bottled in? So all your emotions that you keep bottled in, now you're learning and you're sort of challenging yourself. Like, your area of growth is being willing to speak to those things, being willing to advocate for those feelings willingly and with intention, to do that. So, in intimate relationships, all the fears that you have is very, very huge. Doing things okay. So, Capricorn doesn't do things because it wants to feel emotionally nurtured. It does this often because it just wants prestige, and it just wants respect and admiration and reward. And so there's this tendency to, like, as it says here, do things just because you just want others to respect you. Well, you're trying to gain the favor of others. You're trying to gain others' respect. And you feel like you can't, it's like you feel like you have to do things and earn others' respect. Guess what? Respect is not something that is earned. It is something that is just given. Emotional nurturing is something that does not have to be earned. You don't have to be in a certain position to emotionally nurture or be emotionally nurtured. You can just be emotionally nurtured. However hard you've worked, however much work that you put in, you're always worthy of being emotionally nurtured. So this doing things to just gain respect from others. And I'm going to talk about owing others things as I get to the end of this video, and this is going to I'm going to circle back to this then. But this need to, it comes from this unworthiness thing, this insecurity of, I'm not worthy of their respect. Yeah, exactly. So there's this feeling, and you do everything that you can to try to gain their respect. Everything that you can to gain admiration. Because in past lives, like, you were, the leader of the band, and others look up to you, and you're a very, very, very powerful position, and others above you, you try to gain, respect to them, and what if you had elders? Like, the whole thing about respect your elders. What if you had elders who were pretty, abused their power, probably very harsh, didn't respect you for who you are, didn't honor you being your true authentic self, and yet you need to respect them, and you have to do things for admiration. Like, I think this is what you were trained, like, coming into this life with, is this act of, like, unworthiness and needing to gain respect just through your efforts alone. You don't have to do anything to gain anyone's respect. You're just worthy of respect as you are. So that's really the truth of it, So I'm going to move on. Oh my gosh, oh, okay. Not what I thought it was. Not what I thought it was. Okay. You're managing everybody else. You're providing for everybody else. You're hustling for everybody else. You're taking care of the feelings of others, of everybody else. You're managing everybody else's emotions. Everybody else's stuff. This kind of sounds like Cancer South Node to me. But it's more, but okay, you're doing it in a practical, pragmatic way, and you're not really leaning into how, how they feel. You're just doing it like logically, like almost like, oh, well, you're wanting to be more open-hearted. You're wanting to give more tenderness, more gentleness, more warmth. And when you can open your heart and be more emotionally loving and receptive, not saying that you're a cruel, cold, person, but this life is about opening yourself up emotionally. That's a huge thing. And neglecting your own feelings, like prioritizing your own feelings and your own emotional needs, feeling your feelings, and being with them, like allowing them a seat at the table, allowing your emotions a seat at the table. And not neglecting your feelings. Like, you're here to focus on your emotional foundations. If you don't have the emotional foundations, then you're building from unstable foundations. Like Capricorn, if it's about stable foundations, you have to come back home. You have to come back to yourself. You have to come back to your roots, your emotions, before you build all this success and all this wealth and effort. It has to come from a place of, well, I am taken care of, and I am nurtured, and I feel secure within myself so that I can build. Like, it starts with the foundation first. Okay. So, alright, so that's that. And then doing what is socially acceptable rather than what is totally honest. Okay. This whole conditioning around you must be favored in the eyes of others, and you must fulfill your obligations, and you must do what is acceptable to do, even if it doesn't feel true for you, even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't feel, even if you feel tired, you still have to work, even if you feel down, you still have to work, even if you feel sad, you still have to work. So you may still have to work, but this life is not about working and hustling. This life is about, feeling. So it's doing what is just socially acceptable to do in the eyes of others, in the eyes of social rules. And she puts this in quotes, socially acceptable in quotes, rather than what you, like, oh my gosh. I just feel so passionate about this. Like, don't do things if you don't mean them for others. Like if you're gonna do something for others, do it from your heart. Mean it. Be genuine. But if you don't mean it, don't do it unless you mean it. Don't do it just to please others. And do what is right, because you're doing these things that are very, very emotional and basically you're doing things to help others without the emotion in it. You're just doing things without the emotion. You're wanting to put emotion into what you are doing. Like I was talking about Tori Amos and her music. Like, if her music didn't have emotion to it, there would be some serious lacking with it. So, put emotion into what you do this life. So, and also, thinking that things have to be, okay. All right. Thinking that things have to be a struggle, have to be a challenge in order to be important. Okay, so feeling isn't important. Taking care of family, giving yourself food, listening to music, meditating, crying, feeling, connecting with others. Are those things any less important than your goals? And those things are easier than having to, work and achieve and produce. And those things are still very, very important. So, it's like this point of that I'm trying to make, like, things do not have to be difficult in order for them to be the only things that matter. So I just want to move on to the attributes to develop now. So this is the Capricorn North Node. What to move into, what attributes to develop. The very, very first thing is with this Cancer North Node, kind of switching my mind gears of this a little bit, is identifying emotions. Like, it starts out with identifying your emotions. Like, that's the first step. It's like stopping, pausing, and dropping in. Noticing, I am feeling tired now. So let yourself rest. Like, it's not only just feeling them, but actually acting on these emotions and responding to these emotions and taking care of yourself based off of the emotions that you feel and allowing yourself to do this. So identify that feeling. Noticing and validating feelings, like, and give importance to those feelings. Like, don't dismiss the tendency to dismiss the feelings. It's like, oh, they're not important. Oh, they're a waste of time. Oh, they're a waste of my energy. Oh, they don't matter. Oh, they're just feelings. It's not anything to worry about. Feelings. Oh, no, I'm not getting caught up in that, and I'm focusing on my work. So, it's kind of, that kind of dynamic. Like, you're learning to kind of, notice these emotions. Notice what you're feeling. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling, and allowing yourself to feel. Identifying it first and allowing yourself to feel. Empathy. Empathy is a big one. Really feeling what the other's going through. It's not going to cut what. Do not expect yourself to just feel through a mental, logical perception. It's not about thinking. Like, you don't think empathy. You don't think compassion. You just be compassionate. Be empathetic. You feel it in your heart. You don't expect yourself to feel empathy. Don't expect yourself. Oh my gosh! You're expecting yourself to feel certain things. Like, it is okay if you do not feel ambitious or energetic or motivated or driven on that particular day. Like, you're learning, it's okay not to feel motivated to pursue the goal all the time. You don't have to always be motivated, and it's not always about the goal, So, empathy. Not only validating your feelings, but validating another person's feelings with leading into it. When you connect with your feelings, you can easily connect with that other person's emotions when it comes to what they are experiencing emotionally, and really feeling and opening your heart. Like, I have a lot of compassion for them. I'm caring for them. I'm, understanding them on an emotional level. So that's that attribute. And then, okay, going right along with this is nurturing and supporting others. Well, you're here to build nurturing relationships that help others grow and help others, that care for others emotionally. This is very, very healing for you, nurturing and supporting others. This is very, very important. Very huge. In the kind of way that is your Cancer North Node. I mean, that's all I can think to say about this. I think it's very, very obvious. You're here to build those nurturing relationships. Building one's, as I've already discussed, building emotional foundations and building your sense of security. Deep down, you feel really insecure. But there's this tendency to just put it aside for the purpose of work. Put it aside for the purpose of the goal and the plan and this, No. That whole cycle is not serving you anymore in this life. It is time to focus on, okay, what am I feeling now? What do I need to consider emotionally? So, alright. So, okay. So building your foundations and building your sense of emotional security, not necessarily material security, but emotional security. And I just want to discuss emotional security here. What is emotional security? Oh my gosh, there's a lot to discuss here. I'm going to ask you this very, very profound question. Do you really feel safe? I think you work so hard because you're trying to cover up these emotions. You're trying to cover up this unsafe and insecure feeling. So if I just work hard and keep working, then I don't have to feel these things anymore. It's like if I just keep working and hustling away, then I don't have to worry about feeling. So being safe is the first thing. Emotional security is being accepted emotionally. This is emotional security. Okay, so alright. So emotional security is accepting yourself and accepting your emotions, not expecting others to accept you. And I'm going to talk about that toward the end. And valuing yourself. Valuing your beingness, your being. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, so, alright, so that is what I want to discuss with that. Honest disclosure of feelings and insecurities. Disclosure. I just forget what that means, that I have to be humble. The next tendency, humility. Which I'm going to discuss humility definition. Let's see here. Yeah. That's what I thought. It's being honest. Like I just want to say that if you're honest with your emotions, if you really lean in and have these emotional truths and don't keep them hidden, but actually just speak to them, like put words to them and give a voice to them and name them and claim them, not try to hide them. You're not making demons within yourself. Instead of demonizing feelings and instead of demonizing all these emotions, like make friends with these emotions. Ride the waves of these emotions. And be with them. Allow them to just be present, like being present with these feelings. And just sharing them to somebody that you can trust, somebody that is close to you, like sharing these emotions. Easier said than done. I can say it so easily, but for you, it might not be so easy, depending upon who you are. So it is the willingness to just not be afraid to just, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm going through. Okay. Humility. And I think there's something that I want to discuss with humility here. And this is a big one. There was something about what I read, like, the higher we are, the more humbly we should stand. So what is humility? Humility is modest. Not thinking that you are so... Ooh, okay. There's a lot to discuss with humility. First of all, you're working so hard, putting yourself in such a high position in society that, but like, I am the most important. I am so important. I am so significant. I am so important because I work so hard and I do all this and gosh darn it, I do all this and I provide and I do. Like, if that's your reasoning, then I'm just going to say to you, I don't think that is going to cut it. I think what's going to cut the mustard is for you to have the reasoning that I care emotionally, instead of just always giving the reasoning, like, I work so hard for you, I make the money, I do all this, and so humility is modest, being modest. Viewing things neutrally and objectively in terms of your importance, what you're able to do, and also don't expect yourself to be able to do everything, every goal that you want to achieve, because you are a limited being. And you will probably not achieve every little goal that there is that you have. It's very, very likely. Because this goal is, rather a, it's a thing that blocks you from seeing your limitations. It's kind of like know your limitations, and it's okay. You're a human. You're not a machine that just works and does all this. Like, acknowledge your limitations. Acknowledge acknowledge what you can't do. Not acknowledging just what you can do, but acknowledge, like, I can't do everything. I don't know everything that there is to know. I can't carry this whole world. And being honest about that, like, I cannot do all this stuff. I can only do so much in my power to do. I'm not perfect. I can't just achieve every little goal that there is. I can't please everybody in the world with my working so hard to provide for them. Very, very important. And, it's what I want to discuss with that. Okay. So, alright. That's humility. Okay, So accepting others' flaws, I want to say, and fluctuating moods without judgment. accepting others' emotions without judgment is the first thing I want to talk about with this. Like, instead of saying no crying in karate, you're meant to be tough. No crying in school. No crying in like, control yourself. Don't get too excited. Shut it down. Stop jumping around. Oh, put your nose down. Work, work, work. No. No. Like, part of being human is feeling. Part of being human is having all these emotions. And so, flaw or weakness in a person's character or behavior, such as So yeah, accepting others' flaws. Not expecting everybody to be perfect. Not expecting everybody to work as hard as you may work. Yeah. Like, your moods change. Others' moods change. Like you're meant to be non-judgmental and hold space for others' emotions. Like it's okay if you have a mood to do this thing at this time, and then you feel differently at this time. So you're going to choose to follow that. For you, it's part of it. Then also, the fluctuating moods without judgment. So just accepting others' feelings as mood changes. Like, your mood changes. It's not that you don't expect it to be a constant thing. It changes around. And so just not being judgmental over it, not shutting it down or putting it down or denying it or whatever. Just accepting that's just a part of, what it is. So then being strong in your own feelings. Being grounded in your own feelings. Coming from an emotional place as opposed to, oh, I gotta work and I gotta, be all electrical. Like being centered is what it says here. Being centered in your own feelings. You have a Capricorn South Node. You are so grounded. So ground into your feelings. Be grounded and be a root and be intelligent and be, centered in those kind of feelings that you have. Again, I can make these statements and it's easier said than done. I just want to acknowledge that it does take time to be able to do this, to be centered. But as you grow older, your circumstances in your life and things, like don't expect you to just hear this video and get it all and digest it all, and be able to do it after hearing this video. Like, no. It's just what this placement is about, what you need to know if you have this placement, and things to consider. Not that you have to do anything. It's just for your consideration. And also, things that you're going to be working on throughout your whole life. Like you have your whole life to evolve through this. So, that's that. I just want to start out with that. Okay, then I want to move on to some more information about this. So, that's the beginning. This is part 1. So if you do want to take a break, now is the time in the video where I definitely would. So now I'm going to continue on with part 2 of this video, which is the even deeper dive. So, you are growing, healing. Yeah. So this is about growth. This is about emotional healing. And being more complete. Like integrating your feelings. Like there may be some feelings that you just deny and you don't integrate and you're not whole with them. This is about integrating and bringing them into something cohesive, something into a whole with these feelings. And part of integration is just, moving through it. Being with it. Being with your feelings is part of this water energy. So, part of the water. It's like tuning into your feelings. It's part of the water north node. So, alright, so closeness. Closeness is part of this. Being very, very, close, with others. Being very, very intimate in relationships. Like a really, really emotional bond with them, where you're, getting to know them on a soul level, where you're connecting in a mutual way with them. That involves vulnerability. Like, big lesson for Cancer North Node is vulnerability. Letting yourself speak to your emotions and opening yourself up. And here's the piece with vulnerability that's important. Regardless of any other opinions, and regardless of what anybody else is going to think or anybody else is going to say. Regardless of the risks involved with opening yourself up. If that does make you uncomfortable for me to say that and to hear that, then that's part of, an area of growth to, to balance out and lean into this life. So, and so vulnerability, trust, not only this, but trust, and having, mutual relationships. And so part of the thing is presence. Not working and climbing up the mountain, but just being present. And caring about the other on an emotional level, like valuing the other. Now, with the Capricorn South Node, there's a cautiousness that comes in with them. Ooh, better be careful about this person. And, like being very, very cautious and not just, I'm not saying just open up to anyone. Don't think that I'm saying that. Okay, I just want to clarify that before I go any further. But just in general, just a very, very general thing, because you don't want to just, spill your heart out to a complete stranger, But, there is a, we're very, very cautious. Capricorn is not like, oh, I'm so ambitious, I'm so positive, and so driven. It's like approaching goals in a safe, conventional way that you need to get accomplished for your own life and for your own practical benefit, as opposed to authenticity and, how Aries approaches goals. So, they feel like they are, you feel like you're the only one. There's this feeling of just, I'm the only one. No one's here to help me. No one's here to do it for me. I have to do all the work. Similar to Taurus out there. I was just discussing with them today about that. It's a feeling like you're the only ones that can do it. You're the only ones to do it. Carrying this burden rather than releasing it. Rather than saying, I'm releasing this burden from my life. And I am allowing help in. I'm allowing support in. I don't have to do it all on my own. I can emotionally, find people that you can depend upon emotionally. They're stable emotionally. You want to be with people that are stable. That are rock reliability, that will have your back, that will, be there for you through thick and thin, and will understand you and honor your emotions. It's very, very important that you have people in your life that show these qualities to you, so that you can then, integrate these qualities of the sign of Cancer. So, So yeah. And then, there's this denying and repressing of emotions, like this repressing of emotions. Now, this is going to be contradictory to what I'm going to say later on in this video. So a lot of the stuff I've already said may just go out the window by the time I get to the very end of this video. Just know that. But so denying and repressing the experiences that you've had emotionally and what impact that they've had on you. Like, experiences have emotional impacts on you. And it's just, not cutting off those experiences. Oh, I wasn't working so hard during that experience. Or, thinking of that experience interferes with me working harder. Or that experience just doesn't matter. It can be as simple as that. Where you are denying and repressing the emotion, the experiences that you have. Like, it's about the emotional experiences. And so, you've been through some really, really difficult stuff, probably in, past lives and maybe your early life. A lot of responsibilities, a lot of expectations, a lot of hard work that you've had to really, really work at, I'm going to say, doing. But now you do not have to work so hard. So, denying. Okay. It's about letting down your guard. This life is about letting down your guard, leaning into the feelings, being receptive, allowing yourself to receive as opposed to always give and give and give, and gentle. You need to learn to just gentleness and softness and tenderness, and releasing the pressure that you put on yourselves. All stuff I've mentioned before. Tapping into the vulnerable parts of you. Tapping into the parts of you that you feel, if you expose these things, that's going to happen to you. Like, not denying these things, but, just having them, be there. Like leaves on a stream. You don't just push the leaves down the stream, you just allow the leaves to just sort of flow on down the stream. You just gently let the thoughts and emotions just be, and you just ride the waves. Hard. Very, very difficult. I realize that. But anyway. So, and so, surrender. Surrendering and just feeling. Surrender. Stop working and just let go. Deep emotional connection. Okay. There's this belief that you may come in with that says, oh, emotions hurt and hinder productivity. If you are so, because if you're so in your emotions, you can't get things done. If you just go with your emotions and your, feelings, then you won't get anything done. So this belief, you can actually balance these two things out. You can actually, you're meant to balance your nose. You're meant to balance the hardworking part of you, and you're meant to work hard while integrating your emotional foundations, and then in working hard with feeling emotionally secure in the self, with validating your feelings, and doing a work in a way that is compassionate towards yourself and empathetic towards others. That's what it comes down to. So if it says something like cut off the hardworking part of you, just the hard work the part of you that just works and doesn't focus on, just denies your emotions. Like, you're meant to do both. You're meant to balance Capricorn and Cancer out. So, alright, so emotions hurting productivity. Then doing something that serves your mind, body, and soul, leaving you feeling energetic and satisfied. You're here to focus on those things. Food, emotional connections, good conversation, fresh air and walks, but also prioritizing your mental and emotional health. Also, calming down the mind, meditation, all those things like that, very, very important. Tenderness and softness can actually be a strength. Like, you think strength is, how strong I am, how hardworking I am, how capable I am, how competent I am. But tenderness and softness, the ability to be emotionally receptive and to tune in and to be an emotionally caring, feeling person is a very strong, wonderful quality to have. And that's what you're stepping into. So, coming home to yourself. What does it mean to come home to yourself? You are accepting yourself. Accepting what you have gone through, accepting what you're currently going through. Connecting with your true self and reconnecting yourself with your feeling. Like, if you've been cut off from this, you are reconnecting with that very, very easily. Now, in past lives, you probably, or your early life, calm. There's this calm quality. Capricorn energy is like, let's keep it together. Doesn't let itself get too emotional because that's bad and it's rational. So it's always looking for the rational, calm approach. And, I'm like, I have my, mom, for example, who is a Capricorn, has a Capricorn stellium and, kind of says, calm down and do whatever when I get into a high emotional state. So there's something about Capricorn energy that is very, very calm and, it's about wading into the feelings and expressing those feelings out. So you're taught to deny your feelings and just focus on, work. Taught to just push these feelings aside and focus on the work. Again, your soul expands through emotional connection with others, an emotional connection with yourself, both and. So there's this feeling of just feeling isolated and not connected to your soul. Like feeling kind of cut off, and just disconnected from your soul self. So focused on the logical, the control aspect of yourself. Deep down, you crave nurturing and you need belonging and you need all that. So, you may be, very, very hardworking and successful. Can be traits. You may looking for someone who can, and this is the reference that I want to bring in, which is so, huge of a reference, with this placement. Someone who embodies the Capricorn shadow is looking for someone who can find your heart in all the rocks and the ice and the cold, rational, repressed, guarded aspect of yourself. Now, it's not that you don't have emotions, not that you're a cut-off person, it's just, do you allow yourself to feel these emotions? Do you allow yourself to lean into these emotions? You're not unfeeling, but you just kind of cut off that part of you so much that, it's like now you're leaning back into that. So when I think of this placement, I think of the Christmas Carol, and I think of Ebenezer Scrooge. What did he do? But he totally put his whole life aside for his work and making the money and continuing to work to where he didn't lay eyes on his family. He didn't focus on his family. He didn't focus on connecting to his feelings. He he didn't realize the importance of like togetherness and and people coming together and sharing memories and connection, and like Christmas is a time of receiving gifts and love, and it's not so much about the material things. It is about the experience of being together with family that Scrooge was so resistant to. And he was made aware by the three spirits of what he was missing in his life, and basically it goes to a very, very extreme case, like if you want to live, then you must change. Like the spirits are like, you must change and you must become more feeling, more kind, show more compassion, show more empathy, show more love. Otherwise, you're done for. That's like the extreme, case of this. But, as I was reading, I was coming across capitalism. And I just wanted to, what is capitalism? What am I even referring to? Basically, with capitalism, I'm probably going to mention this earlier. It's based off of your own individual company owning something, like a factory or a farm, and you're making money off of it. How does this make sense? So, I'm not most educated in this, well versed in this, but basically, you are, with capitalism. Oh yeah, I'm going to be humble with myself here and say I am not the most educated on capitalism, but just making money off of it. That's all the further I can go into with that. So I'm just going to be real and not pretend like I know something that I do not know, okay? So capitalism, basically that's what it is. And so Scrooge kind of did that with the factory that he was making money off of, and profit basically was getting in there. With trying to think here. Profit. He was becoming richer while the poor were becoming poor. Capitalism, basically. I just want to leave it at that. So, moving on. They can be incredibly emotionally so it's not that these people are cold and cut off. This is a mistake. It all depends on your experience. Like, when I say that, you had an upbringing of where you were taught to not deny your emotions, that might not be true for you. That, because everybody's reality is different. That might have been your reality. But if you saw that and you're like, no, that doesn't resonate with me, what the heck are you saying? Well, I'm glad you've watched up to this point in the video, because I'm here to clarify some things that I was talking about earlier. So, they can be incredibly emotionally intelligent and wise based on if they've had supportive circumstances for this, if they had people to help them and guide them to become more emotionally wise. So, there's this insecurity that comes in, like, that you can't get security external to you because no one's going to understand you, no one's going to accept you for what you're feeling. And so you just expect somebody to take care of you, and just say that, like, just expect somebody to take care of you for Cancer North Node. Then you're going to find that they're going to retreat into their insecure place. So just, it's always about like finding the one person that will just have the magic touch, have the magic spell to take that key to that stone heart and just take it and just turn it and be able to unlock all the beautiful gold feelings and love inside of it. Like, no. So, they were, you're probably taught that, you could only reveal your emotions. You're only, you have to earn the right to just express your emotions. Like, you can't just easily do it. Like you have to earn it through the hard work. Like, you don't have to earn the right to, express your emotions through hard work. Expressing emotions is not an earned right. Receiving, reveal their emotions only when they're in a position of strength, power, or when they are well respected in society. Then you can open up about your emotions. Then it's okay to do it. Like, no. And then, so you may easily just share your feelings around. Just share them. Just speak to them without really feeling them. Like, that's okay. So you recognize the emotion, but then it becomes even deeper. That it's about feeling the emotion. Oh, this is hard for me. I have an air moon. I just talk about things that I'm very, very up in the mind with my emotions because my moon's an air sign. Like no, it is about feeling the emotions. Like, allowing yourself to feel. So, sharing the emotions, without, really, okay, so another thing is, not that they just hide all their emotions, but they're very selective about it. They reveal only things that they want you to know. Just very subtly. Very, very subtly. Like these things not to rock the boat. Because they don't want to lose control. And they don't want to just be so emotional and be so real that they are seen, because they're afraid that they're going to be seen as unprofessional, not having class, not, that they're going to, respect is going to go down, that they're not together, that they're not acceptable, that they're not, that it invalidates and minimizes all the hard work that they've done, basically. So they're really, really selective about it. They let others know how these selective details, because they are aware of how tough life is and what kind of situation that they're in. So, try to think how this can play out. Because they want to be very, very cautious, and almost like this thing out of caution, where you're letting people know about things just to protect yourself and keep yourself safe from these circumstances, not just relaxing into the safety and security of what it is, but keeping yourself guarded. I think that this is what is meant by this, being having to be emotionally prepared. So when they so if you prepare yourself for these very high emotional difficult situations from a controlled place, like you're afraid of losing control, basically. So you try to be so controlled about your feelings. Like, release control. You're here to release and let go of control. It's a very big lesson. So there's this guilt. Like feeling guilty, feeling regret, feeling like you shouldn't feel. Well, you can't feel sadness or glee or, whatever. And that you cannot receive You cannot receive. Like, you feel guilty when you receive things, like when others give things to you. There's this guilt with that okay, so this is what I was talking about with owing people things. It's very difficult for you to receive because there's this feeling like, oh, I just got to give back. Well, like, there's this duty that you have so ingrained in you that I got to give back to others. Like, there's this kind of default to just want to give back. So, receiving and owing people things, even when you might not have to do that. That just even if it's like, and this is about not understanding the emotional circumstance, like understanding, oh, this person is very allowing and very emotionally nurturing and understanding, and guess what, they're not, like, nobody's expecting you to repay all these things and give back. Like, nobody's expecting you to just give all these things. Like, releasing that mindset and just receiving back. Big lesson for this placement. Okay. So, others use this to try to, convince you to be in the old conditioning. Convince you to, give. That you're only worthy of respect if you just work so hard. And all that conditioning I mentioned before. So, there's this blame. Like blaming yourself if you don't meet up to your expectations, if you don't meet up to others' expectations. Like, you have a high standard for yourself. So it's time to release this standard and to put yourself in, and to not put yourself in situations that are unhealthy for you and that will not serve you on on an emotional level. That's very important. So, all right. So now the North Node. Another thing I did not cover about it yet is it's a new area. It's new, uncharted territory for your soul. So you're going to be new and fresh in this area. You're going to be just level 1. Or maybe this is not your first rodeo and you've been many, many lifetimes developing in your Cancer North Node. Like, I think, for lifetimes I've been developing into my Taurus North Node. Like, I've been learning those lessons, and I've been working into those lessons. And I'm pretty evolved now, and guess how evolved, I might be, at age 41. I just can't imagine that. So anyway, so when you feel your emotions, you really feel your emotions. It's not a subtle thing. Like, you really feel these emotions so strongly. Because it's just like, because for your conditioning, like, if you were conditioned into I can't feel, I can't express, and if you are conditioned into I have to repress, then the floodgates are going to come down. When you're given the opportunity, you kind of just open up and just feel that, because you're just like, finally. And you just take full advantage, and you really, really feel that this doesn't have to be a bad thing. I'm not saying this is a bad or a good thing. I'm just stating something, okay? So, because you long for being nurtured so much, you long to express yourself so much that you just, like, these emotions are so strong. You can be incredibly sensitive when you open up emotionally. You're finding, like, oh, I didn't realize how sensitive I was. I didn't realize how, feeling I was, and just, wow, it's like, and when they cry, it's like, like, it is so real. Like understand that there is beauty in expression of emotion. Okay, there is beauty in that. It's part of being human, like expressing your emotions. There's a beautiful, real part of that. It's attractive, it's real, it's, whatever. Like, it's just, what can I say? It's beautiful. Like, music is beautiful because it has the emotion in it that is expressed in the creativity of the lyrics. Like Tori Amos, I think, expresses, puts emotion into her lyrics, and that's, part of why they were so beautiful, and the words are just so real, I think, in her songs, in a very, very poetic and subtle way, but real. So, when you cry, it's really, really real. Your emotions are, very, very real and raw when you allow yourself to lean into them. So you're learning to care for others, care for what, okay, so you're learning to look at how you're learning to value emotional connections and others providing you on an emotional level, as opposed to basing it on what they achieve and their status and what they worked on and all of that kind of stuff. So there's this guilt, and you don't want to be, you don't want to let down the, the people in your life. The thing is, there is a resistance that you have to asking for help and to advocating for your emotions, like asking. You almost like need to express, like, can I express it? And just not being willing to, like, being willing to just, I'm feeling this, I'm going through this, I need help here, I am not loved here, I feel lonely here. Like, being willing to, just advocate for yourself emotionally. You feel like if you are vulnerable, then you will lose all control and all your, your prestige and your respect. Then all the recognition that you gain will just go down, and that's not what'll happen. Like, this is a fear, but that's not what'll happen. So, feeling guilty that if you speak to your emotions, if you were to speak to your emotions, others are going to shut it down. Others are going to reject you expressing, all these feelings. Like, it's not safe to feel this because others are just not going to like it. So, this is, like, it's a real feeling that you may have, and I don't want to, not, like, I want to acknowledge that is a real feeling, and, real struggle is just, feeling like you can't speak to these because you're afraid that others are, that you're going to be disliked in others' eyes if you were to do this, if you were to take this risk, God forbid, expressing your emotions. So, the dream of, okay, so, now there may be this, this perfect ideal in your mind that you have of basically making up for what you haven't given to others. Returning all of what you owe to others. That they thought that, like they thought, oh, you're thinking that they thought that, oh, you burned bridges with them, so the relationship isn't worth saving, and I just destroyed this relationship. So there's this, like, this pressure and this, like, this insecurity, like this perfectionism with, like, I've got to get back. And, oh, wouldn't it be so nice to just give back? Give all these, as I was reading it, as it was described, debts back. So they seek to earn, and you will do anything around disappointing others. Because you want the forgiveness so badly. And again, goes back to the belief that you feel like forgiveness is earned, that you have to work so hard and do all this to gain someone's forgiveness. Like, forgiveness is a given thing that is just opened, and because it's part of it is about emotions. So it's, part of healing the Capricorn shadow is asking for what you need uninhibitedly, willingly, just regardless, and just not caring, not giving a darn about what others going to think about you and feel about you, without expecting, because you expect rejection. You're like, you hold your breath, and like, with everything that you say, you're just conditioned, like, okay, when is it going to come? I'm just waiting for that rejection. I'm just waiting for, them to just reject and, throw my bones into the fire and, reject all of what what I want to express, basically. And afraid of others' negative reactions, afraid of how they're going to react, if they're going to judge you, or if they're going to be all upset at you and mad at you for this. So you're afraid of that. Expecting your rejection, and they do, everything that they can do, on the material level especially, to try to cover up your feelings so that others don't reject you, and others don't reject those feelings. There's a tendency to do this. Now, the question is, do you believe that you are worthy of being loved and being held and being nurtured? Being, and so being in control of your emotions, being in control of your vulnerabilities, and not expecting that others are going to come in and just save you. It's about taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself. When is this next person going to come? When is this, special person is going to be this perfect, ideal, like this whole ideal of this perfect person to nurture you. Like, now, starts from you validating your own emotions, and you don't need to earn the emotions, earn the respect of others. You don't need others to validate your own emotions. You can validate your own emotions for yourself, and that's what you're learning, like validating the emotions for yourself, and naming the emotions and identifying the emotions, and so yeah, so it's an inside job. It's an inside job to let yourself feel. It's not a, out there, somebody's gonna just, like, yeah, now, there may be people who will, in your life, be very, very nurturing to you and helping you do this, but, not that people won't be doing this, because then, then I'm all alone then, and then you go right back into that insecurity, like, no, like, choose to be with people that will respect you emotionally, that will acknowledge your emotions, that will validate you, that people that, respect you, like family, and, those people will, have your back, and, like, there will be people to, just be there for you emotionally, but you don't have to rely on them. Like, you can be sovereign within yourself with your own emotions and manage your own emotions, so don't expect others to just save you from the part of you that may fall into being cold and repressed. And so, just you being alive, just you being human, just you being on this earth and living and breathing is worth throwing a party over. Is worth celebrating. Not anything you do, like, with all those things that you do, doesn't matter as much as you're being alive. It's not about what you do. Like, yes, it's important. Yes, it's important, but instead of just basing your worth and value off of the goals that you do and the goals that you achieve, it is about just being. And knowing that you are worthy of just being. So it is not about feeling guilty and needing to repay the debt. It is simply about just letting it go. Just, you know what? I didn't need to repay it. They will feel the way that they will feel, and I will focus on my own life, and I will take care of myself emotionally, and I'm not going to try to build these bridges that I think I need to repair, that I'm insecure about needing to repair. Just letting go, and that's also coming back to working so hard, like working so hard to repair those bridges. Like, no. No, you don't need to do that. Now, the very, very last thing I want to leave you with is this song that I just love so much, and it is for Saturn in Cancer, but also for the North Node in Cancer, and the song is Walls. And also I want to mention something, I totally forgot about this, I thought about it earlier, like Frozen. You know, like Elsa in Frozen, I think that she is a Cancer North Node because she repressed her powers, and she repressed her just feeling and leaning into her powers. And the song Let It Go, she was allowing herself to use them. She was allowing herself to feel them. And she felt so much more liberated when she let these powers go. And you know, she was more herself when she just let loose all of her feelings and all of what was inside of her. Instead of repressing it, she just let it loose and embraced it and just, I don't care what you think. I'm just going to let it go and express just what is inside of me. Like, I think that she is a Cancer North Node. Like, I really do. And then when she allowed herself to just let her powers be and just tap into love, then she could easily take back all the winter that she has created because she has found love and beauty and emotion in her heart. And you know, and her sister Anna was very, very emotionally, you know, tuned in and receptive, and so she definitely helped her out. And her sister Anna was very much Cancerian, like very much about sisterhood and connection and being loyal to her sister and wanting to be just so emotionally bonded with the sister. Very much expressing those qualities. Yeah, I think that she's a Cancer North Node. I think that there's some Scorpio in her chart if I had to make the assumption. Okay. If I clip this, I don't want you to take it down. Okay, I'm just making the assumption that if Elsa had a chart, I would say that she would have a Cancer North Node and some Scorpio, definite Capricorn Scorpio dynamic. Like, I made an assumption about Aunt Shirley and YouTube just took it down. Like, oh my gosh, I'll let them know if they take that down if I just happen to make a clip from what I just said. And that's what literally happened the last time. That's not going to happen this time because I brought it up and I acknowledged it. Otherwise, I'll email about this and, whatever. I don't want to be on bad terms with them, but anyway. Anyway, the last thing I wanted to leave you with is the song Walls. Like, I think that you build up a lot of emotional walls. And the point of the song Walls is not only, like walls keep you out. They keep you out of a place. They keep you out of emotional connection, but they keep you inside your own, skin, inside your own, emotions in life where you can't just breathe and just connect with another and just feel free. Like when there's a wall, there's a barrier, like there's a trap, like I'm not free. Then also, walls doesn't have to be a physical thing. It can also be a metaphorical, emotional walls that we build between us and another. And if we have those walls, then we are emotionally disconnected. We are cut off. We are distant. We hinder connections and kindness and love and tenderness and all these things. So if we build bridges, if we let down our guard and our grudges and our resentment and our dislike and our hate or whatever, if we build bridges and we allow ourselves to feel and connect emotionally with another, and sure, I'm feeling this, you're building bridges so to that person instead of walls, instead of barriers. So that's food for thought, North Node and Cancer. That I just wanted to leave you with that. Okay. And I'll probably also bring that up for Saturn in Cancer when I get there. Maybe. I don't know. Because I have Saturn in Cancer. So, anyway, that is all that I have on the Capricorn South Node, Cancer, North Node podcast episode. If you like this and if you find somebody that would really enjoy this episode and find a lot of insight from it, then share this to someone who would like it. And you can also follow the Cosmic Sky podcast. And I will see you tomorrow for the reading on the new moon in Aries coming up for the week of, if you're watching this at the day this is getting published, April 8th, 2026. This week we do have a new moon in Aries that I'm going to be discussing in depth, and also for your sign that I'll be doing tomorrow. And then I'll finish up I'll do Aries North Node, Libra, Leo North Node and Sagittarius North Node. I have those two left to do before my hiatus break for my health in the middle of April. So I will, do those videos and get those completed and out to you before I just take off for a whole week. So I want to feel some sense of accomplishment and some sense of completeness before I just, stop everything. So I will do that. I'll plan to do that. So anyway, hope that you enjoyed this, and bye for now.